Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are finally about to do this response video to the letter that got sent in to us from the young lady. I've been trying to get to this, but life has been really wild. I'm finally getting to it now. I wanted to do a live video on this, but my schedule just hasn't allowed it. So right now, I'm not here physically with y'all, but I'm here in spirit. I'm doing a premiere. I'm opening up the chat so you all can talk amongst yourselves, because to be honest with you, y'all got all the answers. You all have all the answers. So if you haven't heard the video of the question that was sent in from the caller, I'm going to play it right now. Please give a listen, and then afterwards I'm going to give my response, and I'm going to go over some of the responses that you all put down in the chat. Let's go ahead and get started.
I saw your video where it said we can send in questions to get advice. I know you wanted me to send the video, but I'm not comfortable with sending the video, so I'm just going to send this audio instead. But I need some advice. Years ago, many years ago, when I was in undergrad, I met a man who was wonderful. We fell in love. We dated our entire undergrad years, from when I was a sophomore all the way through to when he was a senior, and he graduated a year before me. I always knew he wanted to go to law school, and I wanted to become a nurse. I ended up having to do an extra year in undergrad to finish up my nursing degree and everything that I needed to do, and he graduated on time and applied to law school. When he applied to law school, he did apply to a local law school in Georgia that he did get into, where I was still an undergrad, but he also applied to his dream school, his dream law school, which was Stanford, way out in California. Well, he got accepted to Stanford Law and the law school in Georgia. He was so happy. I was so happy for him. We were all really happy. But I knew he had a big decision. I still had a year left in college. He asked me, did I think he should go to law school in Georgia and stay with me, or should he go to law school at Stanford, which was his dream school? I knew that Stanford was his dream school. He had talked about it the whole time that we were together. It's all he ever talked about. Our original plan was that we would graduate together, and then if he went to law school, we would both move to California together. But because I had an extra year to do in nursing school, I couldn't move when it came time for him to move. When he asked me, did I want him to still go to California or go to Stanford, I didn't feel good telling him not to chase his dreams that he worked so hard for. I did not want to leave nursing school. I talked to my mom about it at the time, and she told me that if he really loved me, he'd wait for me to finish my last year. I was afraid to lose him if he left to California. I thought just one more year, and then I could move out there with him. Well, within 7 months, we were broken up. He cheated on me. He told me he was so lonely, and that he missed me so much, and that he cheated on me. He told me, and I was devastated. I never cheated on him. I would never cheat on him. I was devastated. We broke up, and I was so hurt, and we never spoke to each other again. Until this year, until recently at homecoming, I saw him for the first time in a long time. I eventually got married, I had a child, and I was married for 20 years. But 2 years ago, my husband and I got a divorce. This year at homecoming, when I saw him for the first time in over 25 years, I couldn't believe my eyes. I had been going back to homecoming every year because I still live locally for all these years. He never came to any homecoming, but this year he came, and when he saw me, he told me that he came just to find me. He told me that he had gone on to get married too. He now has 3 kids of his own, and he told me that last year he and his wife got a divorce. He said he came to homecoming looking for me, hoping I would be there. We ended up not even going to all the homecoming events, all the things I had planned to do. With friends, I didn't do it. Instead, we ended up just spending all our time together. Eventually, we ended up in his hotel room, and he and I had sex. Or should I say, it felt like we were making love. It felt like there was no gap in between the years of college and now. We've spoken on the phone every day since. Recently, he's asked me to move to California. He's asking me to pick up my life, leave my life here, and move to California to be with him. My daughter is in her last year of high school. She graduates this year, and she'll be going off to college. He wants me to move out there with him permanently. I have a good career. I make good money, but he wants me to give it all up. He wants me to sell my house, leave everything, and come out there to be with him. My mom is now elderly, and I wonder about the idea of it all. I can't decide. Do I just leave my life? Do I just leave my mom? Do I just leave? A lot of ways I feel like I'm leaving my daughter because I think my daughter is going to go to school here locally. Do I just leave her to go be with this man across the United States? Do I give up everything? I feel like I have a second shot with a man that I now realize I never ever stopped loving. And he said he never stopped loving me either. What should I do?
Okay, there it is. There it is. She's asking, what should she do? Should she pack up her life? I read all you guys' comments. I listened to her, what she wrote, and I need to give an update. I need to give an update because obviously she has been listening and reading your comments as well. And she did give an update. She said two things. One is she said she wasn't considering leaving before her daughter graduated from high school. She was talking about after her daughter graduated and her daughter went to college, could she leave after that? And she was just saying that she believes her daughter is going to go to college locally, but she wasn't thinking about leaving prior to then. She was saying that her mother is elderly, but she does have other siblings in the area. So she did clear up those 2 points as well. So that's a little bit more information. Oh, and she did say that the man in California told her she doesn't have to work, that yes, he does very well for himself, and that when she got to California, she wasn't going to have to work. So basically she was going to leave her job, I don't know, retire early, I suppose. She never did mention her age, but it must be some sort of retiring early kind of thing. So those are the 3 updates, which might change some of y'all's advice. I don't know if it does, but I want to say this. At the very least, I think we all agree she needs to slow down. She needs to slow down. This is moving all too fast. She needs to pump the brakes. I too was just like someone else in the comments. I'm like, didn't homecoming just happen with the colleges? I mean, come on. I mean, how fast has this been going on? A month or 2 months? The fact that they met at homecoming, they reconnected at homecoming. They were intimate together that same homecoming weekend. Sure, they're talking on the phone every day, but it couldn't have been too long that they've been talking on the phone every day, because she hasn't even mentioned that she's visited him. We're going straight from the hotel room to moving to California. Too much. Too much. So I agree with all of you that she needs to slow down. I was going to say, yes, she doesn't need to be leaving her daughter in high school, but that obviously is not even on the table anyway. So from there, we are going to move forward in other things that were brought up and what I think. First of all, I think she is going to be giving up a lot, because if she's remained in the area for a long time and she's been going to homecoming every year, like she says, she's pretty embedded in her community. That means she's got a lot of friends. She's got family there. Everything is there. And what this man is asking her to do is to uproot all of that and move to California after only reconnecting him for a month. No, way too fast. Now, some of you in the comments say you basically should kick him the curb and cut him off completely. I'm not all the way there, y'all. I'm not to the point where I'm just going to call this man a certain kind of thing, because it could be true love. I mean, I had some people down in the comments talking about a true love story. We could be talking about Ashanti and Nelly. I don't know. Maybe it is true love. But I do know she doesn't need to make any rash decisions too fast to be dismantling her entire life, her career. I don't know if she's going to get a pension, retirement. What would that mean? Quitting your job early, even if he is going to pay all your bills. To me, it's a lot to sacrifice. in your later years. But I also love love. I also love love. So what I would want to do is try to find a way in which she doesn't have to give up all these things, but maybe there is a pathway forward. I don't know what he does. She said he does well for himself. He's an attorney. I don't know if he's a partner in a law firm, which means him moving also isn't an option. Because here's the thing, when you get so entrenched in your careers, it is kind of hard to leave them in the last years of your life. If he is well-to-do attorney or partner in a law firm in California, it is hard for him to leave that partnership and just move back to where she is. Same thing with her and her career. She says that she's a nurse, which means maybe she's done a lot of years in nursing, which means maybe she's going to get a pension. What does it mean when you stop being in a nursing career too early? Does that mess up your pension? Does that mess up your retirement? What if the relationship doesn't work out? Now you done blown your whole retirement going after this man. Now, I'm not for that. At our age, later years, it's too hard to recover financially when we make big financial blunders. And I'm going to tell you, leaving her job, if she hasn't considered all those things, how it may affect her retirement income later on, I think can be a little bit too risky. And if he can't move, I think that could be risky for him as well. So what does that mean for her in the interim? Does that mean a long distance relationship? Does that mean you just become friends with benefits? You see each other here and there? Does it mean you go out and visit and spend time with him? You know, relationships are changing. They really are. As long as you have the right expectations for each other, there could be a pathway where they could sort out some type of idea where they could work it out. She seems to really enjoy him, like him. She says it felt like they were making love. It wasn't just about sex. So she does tend to have some real, genuine feelings. He seems to have some about hers. But do I think that she should totally dismantle her life and pack up even after her daughter leaves and go to college and move to California without marriage, without anything more solid? No, I don't think that she should do that. And I think that's probably the reason why she wrote in, because maybe part of her heart wants to do it. Maybe she longs for it. But I think in her mind, practically, I think she realized it's not a wise decision to make. But before I get into everything that y'all wrote, because I do want to get down in the comments and read some of the suggestions that you wrote, I actually want to dial this back a lot of years. I want to dial this back to the college years, y'all. I want to actually have a bigger discussion, because one of the things about doing these videos, I didn't just want these videos to help the person who called in. I want this video to also help someone that might have a similar dilemma or a similar decision point. Now, her uniqueness of that she met this man or reconnected with this man at homecoming, that may be unique to her. It may not be a lot of people out there who are going through this experiences. But I want to go back to the very, very, very early decision, how we got here. Because even in the last video I did with the young lady, when I talked about sometimes when we get in our 40s and 50s, we're really unraveling decisions that we made long ago. And what I want to do is I want to go back to the very first decision that these two people made, the man and her, back when they were in college and he was applying to law schools and he got in law school. The very first decision that they made as a couple was when he got into both law schools, as she said, one in Georgia, one in California. Okay? One in Georgia, one in California. California being his dream school, Georgia being where they were originally. And what she said was the plan was going to be that after they both finished school, they would move to wherever his law school was going to be, and because she knew his dream law school was in California. Well, it took a turn. It took a turn because she needed an extra year of schooling. That's what she said. She wasn't able to go once he graduated and he left to go to law school. So they had to make a decision. And what I want to talk about in this decision, because this decision right here could be something a lot of people go through. Women in college right now, even if you're older right now and someone gets a job opportunity in another place, but you will have a job, do you make the decision to go with a person who you believe is the love of your life? Do you choose your relationship or do you choose your career? Because in the end, that's what that decision was in college. The decision was, does he choose his relationship, okay, which would have been to stay in Georgia, even though it wasn't his dream school, there was a law school he got into, or does he choose his career? And same thing with her. Does she choose her career, which was nursing at the time, or does she choose her career, her relationship, and say, hey, I'll just go to California with him and continue my nursing degree out there? See, both people had an option. At that decision point, both people had an option. And in the end, what they chose was she chose her career, her schooling, her nursing, and he chose his career, which was going to his dream law school. So this actually is the decision point. Do we choose ourselves or do we choose each other? Because one of the things we need to think about going forward is, and I'm not even saying if her decision was wrong or right, but it is a decision. I think when we are younger, we do take for granted love. At a young age, we take for granted love because what we think is we're young. It came to us early in life. I guess they were in college. They said they dated from whatever sophomore year to senior. So they're probably only maybe 19, 20 years old, from 20 to 22. They were young. Love came to them very, very early on. And they didn't understand or maybe think, oh, does this love come again? And it sounds like love came again for them because they both got married. They went on, they had kids, they got together. But for some people, love doesn't come around again. For some people, love comes around in a long, long time. You hear people say that their love of their life was in college and they never refound their love again until maybe they were 15 years later. So one thing I would say to younger people is don't always take love for granted because sometimes love doesn't always come around again so soon. It may come around, but it may not come around so soon. So in your decision making, whether you decide your career or whether you decide your relationship, I think one of the things you have to think about is, will love come around again for you, or are you willing to sacrifice the good relationship that you have right now? Another thing I want to say is when he had the decision to go to Georgia versus Stanford, it sounds like she automatically relinquished and said, go ahead and go to Stanford because that's your dream school, right? What was wrong with her saying in that moment when he asked her, do you want me to stay or do you want, what would have been wrong for her to say, I actually want you to stay? You have an opportunity to go here to school in Georgia, and I want you to sacrifice that for me, and because I want us to stay together. Now, it may not have meant that he did it. Would it have been selfish of her to ask for that? I think these are the questions we need to start asking ourselves, is that when is it okay for us to ask others to sacrifice for us? When do are women always the one that have to sacrifice? Like I said, I'm not making a judgment call on it. All I'm bringing up are in these moments, there was decisions that were made. And those decisions then create situations later. Because this situation she's in, honestly, this second chance, there's no second chance if the first chance was never let go. You see what I'm saying? And I wonder how this all played out. Because here's the other part. Even if the way things worked out, he goes to Stanford, she says, in Georgia. Here's the other decision point I want to ask. Should they have even tried a long distance relationship? You know, that's my question. What is the longest long distance relationship any of you are even willing to try? I mean, here in California and LA, I'm telling you, folks don't even want to be in relationships with people who are 40 miles away because what they say is traffic is so bad. For me to drive 50, 60 miles away, it could take me 2.5 hours to get to you. You might as well be in another state. You may not be in another state. You may just be in another city in California or in a suburb of LA. But the fact that you are 40, 50 miles away means it could take me 3 hours to get to you. And on a weekday, I'm not driving 3 hours, which means the only time I may see you may be on a weekend. If that, is that a long distance relationship? What is the longest? And I don't want to talk about distance anymore. I want to say, what is the longest amount of time you would be willing to drive to see a person you're in a relationship with? Is it 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? Because here in LA, if I drive 3 hours, if I have to drive 3 hours to get to you, I might as well be on a plane to San Francisco. It's the same amount of time. So am I in a long distance relationship because we both are in the LA, a suburb, versus a person who's dating someone who's on a 3 hour plane ride? And my question is this: can long distance relationships sustain themselves over an entire year, especially when you're that young? Especially when you're that young. These two were 20 something years old. When he went all the way to California and she was staying in Georgia, was the expectation of those two was that they would not sleep with anyone else for an entire year and that they would be able to see each other intermittently. Remember, we're talking about Georgia, Atlanta to California. That's more of a plane ride. They're both in school. So when would they see each other? Thanksgiving? Christmas? Spring break? Can a long distance relationship last like that? Is that a reasonable expectation? Because here's what I'm getting to in that decision point. Would it have been better? Because remember, let me say this. She was so hurt by the fact that he cheated on her, right? And when he cheated on her, she never spoke to him again. But she never said that he ever stopped loving her. She never stopped loving him. Would it have been better to say, hey, let's not put so much pressure on each other during this year, okay? Because now what it could lead to is cheating and hurt. Would it have been better for them not to say, let's not be together for this year, and then if we come back together after a year, we come back together? Because maybe that would have changed their after. Maybe that would have changed their after they graduated. Maybe if there was no cheating, there would have been no anger. And if there was no anger, then maybe after she graduated, they would have found their way back to each other. I don't know. But when I start to say, can this help someone else? I want people to think about, are we creating dating situations that are doomed to fail from the start? And then as a result, when they have some of these likely outcomes, does it in turn inhibit us later on? Because if these two were soulmates, let's say, they eventually went on and found wives and husbands and had children. But what if these were two people that never ended up finding love again? Maybe it was the early decisions in the relationships that put them in such a trick bag that there was almost no way that this might can sustain itself. Because I don't think everybody believes long distance relationships can work. A lot of people have tried them. And oftentimes they don't turn out well. That's something to think about. Sometimes when you're letting someone go initially, it's so you can preserve the respect and the dignity of the relationship so that maybe later on you could come back together. Sometimes when you hold on to something so tight, you're actually strangling the relationship to the point that you actually killed it. You think you're keeping it alive, but actually you strangled it so much, you're not giving it a chance to live later on in life. But anyway, I want to go through some of these comments with all of y'all because y'all have some really good advice. I want to read to them to see what you think also about what is the advice of this young lady going forward. Okay, so let's read some of these comments. So CY Curious says, nope, I'm learning. Do not circle the block. And he wants you to move too? No. She said, no. I would be interested in why he got a divorce. He sounds selfish. I'm only secondhand, but I wouldn't do it. You know what? I don't know why he got a divorce. It sounded like he was married a long time, so I don't know if it's anything bad or not. But I see where CY Curious is going and saying about the selfishness of why can't he be considered moving. Honestly, y'all, I think it's the idea a lot of men do. Men believe their careers are more important than women's. So if he's an attorney, more than likely he feels as if her career as nursing it could be the one that could be uprooted. Not saying it ain't selfish, but that's what I think. Marie AP75 says, is he gonna marry you? Girl, I don't know. She didn't mention that. She did mention that he's gonna pay the bills though, but she didn't say nothing about marriage yet. TFA 4782, why is it you are the one who still has to drop everything and move? And she said still, that's the word. When that's referencing, like I said, that's referencing the earlier decision when they were in college of her moving with him too. So it's still, if he really loves you, why is he not saying he will drop everything and start building in the state you are? He is still selfish decades later. A lot of people are using the word selfish because he's asking her to move, uproot her career, and he wants to stay where he is with his career. And come on, women, we know men believe their careers are more important than ours. I'm not saying it's true, but we know a lot of men believe it. Arlene Dixon, one of my faithfuls, 2547. Okay, now, thank you for the letter and the video. ASAZ 7112. This man sounds entitled and selfish. Another person calling him selfish. It's so easy to be wooed with nostalgic feelings. That is true, because let me tell you, that SEX must have been good. That must have been some good stuff for this woman, because they had SEX on the homecoming weekend, and she was already considering packing her bags. I know it felt good. But I think she needs to slow it down. He came looking for you after his divorce and things get physically immediately. That is a red flag, and he wants you to jump airplanes, trains, and U-Haul trucks to move to him. That's another red flag. Take him as a friend and keep it moving. Love is patient. That's what she's saying. Prince Kolimba says, sounds like she left out a lot. There is more to the story. I think there is. I don't think we ever get the whole story, but she did add, like I said, that it wasn't leaving her daughter right now. It was after her daughter graduated when she moved. And also he did say that he would provide for her. Sweetheart, he cheated on you. Why does he deserve your everything? If the tables were turned, would he give you that forgiveness? That's center staged with HGG8750. And this goes back to what I was saying. He did cheat on her. But is it cheating when you know it's going to end that way? I guess you can't say you know it's going to end that way. But let me tell you, 22 years old, long distance from, I want to say, Atlanta to LA over a course of a year, that leaves a lot of room to get cheated on. I don't want to be cynical, but it leaves a lot of room to get cheated on. Another one of my faithfuls, Marriott 6491, says, hi, caller. I can hear the hesitation. No rush. Keep dating him long distance. That's kind of where I'm landing with Marriott 64. I'm landing there too. I don't think you have to say no and cut off the relationship if it's bringing value to your life. Maybe you can keep dating him long distance. You're older now. Long distance could look different at this age than it looked when you were 22. Emotions from past can fool us, but they are not real. Good luck. I do think she has to figure out who he is now, not going off emotions from when there was 22. A lot of time has passed. They are not the same people. Kimberly Porritz says, I wouldn't go, but have a long distance relationship. Good luck. As long as you could do that. That's what I'm kind of believing too. And maybe after her daughter graduates, maybe it could change. But maybe for now, but don't begin the same old mistake talking about long distance and then get mad if he cheats on you. I don't know. There needs to be some adult thinking there when it comes to that. Another one of my favorites, Be Private 5038. No way. Keep living your life without him. He never said he would marry you. He said move out there. You are living a dream, but he don't sound like a dream you need. She calling it a nightmare. She's saying the man is a nightmare. She going hard in the paint on him. Analyst AYI, I talk to her often too. I think if a man wants you, he has to be willing to move where you are at. I would not uproot my life for someone I don't currently know. Also, having sex is clouding her judgment. Women, if you're going to have a fling, go into it knowing that. Stop fooling yourself to think it's more unless or until he shows you more and over time. She's kind of saying the same thing. Slow it down. Get to know what it is for real. Don't be going off of old emotions. Don't uproot your life too much. Slow it down. See where it can go later on, but don't you make all the changes, all the adjustments, everything, and then he doesn't have to do anything, because it sounds like our caller is doing all the change and he ain't doing too much of anything. So yeah, slow it down. One of my paid members, thank you, P. Bradshaw. I wouldn't give up everything at this point. I don't think you should leave your daughter in her senior year. So she did clear that up. She's not going to leave her daughter in her senior year. She's talking about after she graduates. Also, what is he willing to give up for you? Good question is what we all ask. And what is he willing to give up? Have you visited California to see what kind of situation he lives in? And that's what I'm saying. She didn't even mention she's been out there yet. It's just phone conversations. So, I mean, can we do long distance first? Can we make a couple of trips first before we get to this point? It is really a rush. I'm not for sure what the rush is all about. It doesn't sound like you are ready to retire. Can you replace your income working in California? That's what I talked about. Don't be giving up your retirement income. California is much more expensive place to live than Georgia, from what I know. You know right. You know right, P. Bradshaw. It is much more expensive. I would date long distance at least until your daughter finished high school. I agree 100% with all that advice. Sharon, another faithful Deborah, I understand wanting a second chance at love, but at what cost? Very good question to ask yourself. Should it cost this much? Because this is a heavy price to pay. Heavy price. After 25 years, this man wants you to give up your life and move to California. Don't do it. You said your daughter is still in school. You have a good career and your daughter is still in school, plus mom in her senior years. What is he giving up for you? I didn't hear you say. It's all about him. I don't hear any compromise here, in my opinion. I agree. We definitely want to see more from him. We want to see less sacrifice for her. He need to put up or shut up. I'm with everybody here. Marie James, she said he went to law school, but we don't know if he finished. He did finish. He's practicing. He's going to be paying. I don't know if he's a partner or not, but she did say he finished. She did not refer to him as a successful lawyer. I think she cleared that up. He has 3 kids, so sounds like a lot of child support. You know what? She didn't quite tell us the age of his kids. I know her daughter is graduating from high school, but you're right. What about his? But if he's asking her to move in, I don't know if his kids live with him, with the mom or not. But that's another good question. What is the child support looking like? I think he wants a helpmate without the commitment. Oh, Lord have mercy. He wanted to move out there. He hasn't mentioned marriage and she didn't say it. I don't know if they've discussed that. My TNT says, I won't say yes or no, just not now. You need to learn who he is today first. I'm sure neither of you are the same people as before. Don't let memories make you believe nothing changed between you. 25 years is a long time. Take your time to get to know each other long distance for a while with long visits and lots of conversation. I am agreeing with all this. He has to be willing to put in work and compromise some things, not just for you. If you decide to move later on, don't sell your house. Oh my God, I forgot to mention, absolutely don't sell your house. No way should you sell your house. Rent it out. Even if you go later on, doesn't matter. Rent it out, because who knows? You may need to move back into that doggone house. Don't sell your house. Get married with a prenup before going, and make sure his kids won't be a problem for you. Woo, woo, woo. My TNT came in with some good advice. Hair, skin, and health. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. With an exclamation point. Don't do it. Slow down and get to know this man. You're caught up in the past. The memories of young love can be intoxicating. But trust me, the man you knew 25 years ago isn't the man in front of you today. Take your time. Bravo, bravo, hair, skin, and health. I agree at the same time. We all know we changed a lot in 25 years. She needs to get to know who he is now. Alice the Great also is going to come through. Now, Alice, I can't read this whole thing, girl. You know I can't read this whole. We might be here for 15 minutes. But Alice always comes through with some great stuff. But Alice, in her number one, she says, he didn't cheat on you during those 7 months because y'all were broken up. It's not cheating if you're not together. I think this is kind of what I was talking about. Was it realistic to consider yourself together when you're moving from one end, Atlanta, all the way to LA, and you're 22 years old? Alex the Great is actually coming to a little point I was asking, was that even the best decision in the beginning to actually say he cheated on you? He cheated on you because that was not the agreement. So he absolutely did cheat on you. I do agree that. But my question was, should that even been in the agreement? Was it a setup for failure? That's kind of what I want to know. So anybody in this situation now, forget what this lady has already gone through, because that's water under the bridge, stuff she can't go back and do. But for someone currently now, just be careful y'all ain't putting yourselves in trick bags, asking for things that may not be possible, and then getting hurt and mad over it in the end. But Allison Grit has a lot of other information in here. Always really great advice from her. El Raimi, always gonna chime in and give me, come on in here. What does Auntie say? I'll give my thoughts after I listen. Okay, so we're gonna see her later on. Daphne Walker, oh my God, this may be biased because I'm a woman, but I just feel he needs to put some skin in the game and he needs to make a sacrifice. That's what we all are talking about. What is he doing? Women tend to be more on the nurturing side, and I know this woman who wants the advice will go out of her way and make her feel at home where she lives. But will he do the same for her? I think she's asking the same thing we're all saying. We need more sacrifice for him. We need more skin in the game. We don't want her doing everything all on her own. So I'm not for completely cutting him off and saying deuces, goodbye, but I am for slowing down and asking him to put more on the table and taking your time. TP Lewis says homecoming was a month ago and you are rooting your life for a man that took 20 years to find you. Girl, TP Lewis, girl, you up here clowning. I would consider 2 years divorce fairly fresh. Your daughter is a senior, having a conversation with her about it. You're a nurse, so finding a job shouldn't be the issue. What did she say? If you don't sell your house, rent if possible. That's what I was saying. TP Lewis on the same tip we all on, and that is, this is moving way too fast. Way too fast. You need to learn about this man. Do more. Shay Bay, is that Shay Bay? I'm gonna put my glasses on. I can't even hardly read it. Shay Bay says, I was in a long distance relationship for 2 years. Oh, this is interesting. This was one that actually has been here before. Let's read this one in its entirety. I was in a long distance relationship for 2 years. I flew from Nevada to New York for those 2 years, every single month. My then boyfriend was attending college at the time, and he was also afraid to fly. After he graduated, he packed up all his things and moved to Nevada with me. Okay, so they were in long distance for 2 years, Nevada to New York. That's a long way. I told him that he could not shack up with me, that he would have to marry me. And we have been married now for almost 1 year. We knew each other since we were in elementary school, but we lost touch with each other. But thanks to Facebook, we reconnected. Okay, so they lost touch. So she was in a long distance for 2 years. They lost touch in elementary. Okay, then they must have reconnected. And then they were in long distance for 2 years. Marriage is not easy and we get on each other's nerves on a regular, but welcome to marriage. But our common ground is love and respect for one another. I wish that lady the best, but if he really loves her, he would move with her since she has all that going on her end, or they should come to some mutual ground. So here's a success story. Here's a success story of a long distance relationship that it can work out. And this one went on for 2 years. It was lots of distance between them, Nevada and New York. But it sounded like they came to a mutual ground and maybe mutual sacrifice. And I think that's what we're kind of saying here, that right now we're not seeing mutual sacrifice. And I think that's what we all want to see. But thank you, Shay Bay, for sharing that success story with us. Who is this? ETY fan 32. Please don't romanticize the past. You are still healing from your own divorce. Your daughter is about to start college. This is a pivotal time of transition for you and your family. That should be your primary focus. He has 3 children plus a very fresh divorce. Why is he rushing? You know, it's interesting that we say he's rushing because I think so too. But remember what she said when they went to college? Then when he said, oh, I cheated on you because I was so lonely. It was difficult to be alone. I think this man struggles with being by himself and being single because, like everyone is saying, he's only 2 years out of divorce and he's already looking to be back with a woman. And it's not that I don't think he may marry this woman, because I think this man is a man that likes relationships. And I think he struggled not being in one when they first, when he went to California and she was in Georgia, and it was too much for him. I think there's a lot of people who function better in relationships than single. And I think this man might be one of them. I think he needs a relationship. And so already out of marriage, he's already looking to get back in one. I don't think he's trying to use her, y'all. I really do think he wants to be in a relationship. And he has gone back to something familiar. So that's kind of what I think about him. Next, who came back, Center Stage came back and added some more. She should listen to this herself and maybe play it to her daughter and friends. She is listening because, like I said, she wrote back and added some things. So I know she's listening. Love Me 567. I honestly think she should decide in favor of her daughter because she's a senior in high school and has earned the opportunity to engage in activities with her friends. So we do know she's not leaving her daughter before she graduates. So that got cleared up. Mimi A350, sis, sounds like you already know the answer. I'm hearing so much hesitation on whether or not this is a good move. Trust your gut. What is he giving up? Same thing. We all in the same boat. What is his sacrifice? El Ramy coming back to the table, chiming in. Sis, my advice is to slow down. Me and El Ramy on the same page as always. He hasn't given you a reason to trust that he's a safe space. You guys haven't seen each other in 25 years. You're feeling the emotions from the past, and because you guys hung out and has a physical connection, but you don't know the 40-year-old him, he's moving way too fast, asking you to just turn your life upside down, selling your home, leaving your job. Most of all, your daughter, she is first priority. She has to finish school. Sounds like just before when he wants you, how he wants you to move when he is so things will be convenient for him. That's what I'm talking about. It does sound familiar, like college. Like, why can't he make the sack? Why couldn't he have stayed in Georgia? I agree. I say pump the brakes. Yes, pump the brakes. Just get to know each other. Date. Ask God, is this who you want in my life? Is he the man you want to introduce my daughter? Is he the man to say space emotionally, financially, and spiritually? Sis, take your time. Please don't rush into something that you may regret. Wholeheartedly agree with this. Wholeheartedly agree. Kudos to you for raising a daughter who is soon. This is from Galleta. I think you pronounce those double L's, Galleta. Kudos to you for raising a daughter who will soon most likely begin her journey on her own. Of course, with your love and blessing. Due to childhood upbringing, devoted my entire self to my husband for 38 years. I'm a slow learner. It was all about him. We went wherever he wanted to go, whatever he wanted to do. The list is 38 years long. I did everything to make him happy, to please him. Initially, I settled for crumbs, but even those disappeared. I left when I had nothing left to give. So she's talking about a situation when you give, and you're getting nothing in return. She's talking about the lessons she's learned and trying to give a little bit of tidbits. At least your guy is honest about deciding you should give up everything, everyone, and move to be with him. There is no disguising himself and what he wants. He's never disguised himself. He cheated because he was lonely. He moved because he wanted to go to his dream school. Notice all the he and nothing about you. I don't think any one of us, how it would turn out if you go. You already know how it would be if you stay. You should go for a vacation, have a fling, and see how that fits. I wish you all the best in this decision. I think this is some good advice, and listening to someone who has a history in which she said, I gave up everything for a man all the time. I got crumbs. So be careful, be cautious, proceed with caution, take it slow. I agree. Pam with the bad hair. Nope, don't give up anything. He came looking for you. Not that he has found you. Now that he has found you, what is he willing to do? Did he ask you to marry him? What ended his marriage? Did he cheat on his family too? That is another question, because does he continue to cheat? Even after theirs, is he a history of a cheater? I don't know. He has to prove himself to you. Don't be thirsty for a man you don't know. We all are saying it. You don't know him. It's been 25 years. You don't know him yet. Jay Blake. Hey, D, this is a good one. My advice will be to take your time and has he proposed, date and get to know him. People change. None of us are who we are in our 20s. I wouldn't uproot my life for a man I hardly know. What's the rush? Take your time. Get to know him. Don't let being alone make you rush into something too fast. Best of luck to her. I agree, Jay Blake. We are all on the same page with it. Take your time. Stacey O says, I know two people, both men, who reconnected with women years later after divorce. Both got married. Within 6 months, both were divorced within a year. So she's talking about, does this Ashanti, Nelly stuff really work? Does it work, or do you end up in the same place of getting divorced again? Take your time. He is not the man you knew years ago. Girl, don't do that. He has demonstrated to you consistency. He has to demonstrate to you consistency and integrity via long distance relationship before moving. If he passes the test, only move as a married woman and not a girlfriend. So that is the advice from all of us. I think we all kind of said the same thing. Take your time, figure it out, do long distance, enjoy yourself, but do not uproot your life this early, this soon, with this little bit of information. And ask him to put some skin in the game, because at this point, we haven't heard of much sacrifice from him. And don't be so willing to give up your entire life to please him, but yet he's not willing to give up anything for you. And what that ends up looking like, we don't know, but we know right now we haven't seen enough that he's given up with. He's given up for you. Anyway, that's it, y'all. I'm so glad you guys came here to give this all advice. I really appreciate this. I'm sure she appreciates it too. So anybody else out there who wants to send us a letter or a scenario, be sure to look down in the comments. You can text it to me at the number below. You can email it to me at the email address below. Like this person here, she asked me to disguise her voice, which I did. So now I know how to do that. So if you want to write a letter, I can convert it to audio. I can do that as well. I can disguise your voice if you send an audio, but you just need to put that in the message to me. And you have my confidence. I don't reveal people's a true identity. That's not what this ain't no gotcha moment out here. But thank you everybody who was here today and who's listening now for all the good advice. And I really think this is going to help this person. I think it's going to help this lady, because it was resounding. It was an overwhelming consensus from all of us to slow down, pump your brakes, and slow down. Anyway, that's it, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming. Bye.